Anchors up. Sails at full. Welcome to the SloopCast. How are you doing today, Kyle?
Doing all right, Jared. Doing all right. How are you doing today?
Doing good. Kyle, we have a lot to do today.
Do we?
Spring camp wrapped. We're a wrap on spring camp, which means it is time to update and actually introduce because last time we did this, Tony guested. You were on paternity leave. But we can say that now that we're keeping that secret for a minute. We can say that now. But now that Kyle's back, Tony held down your spot last time. We're doing my update, but your very first depth chart prediction of the offseason. And this will sort of wrap up SloopCamp, and then we'll be heading into the wasteland.
Yeah, sounds like fun. We'll get right into it. I have a feeling, Jared, even after spring camp here, that we'll have a lot of similarities here, but we'll just go at it here, though.
Kyle is officially dad, and Jared is officially mom by proxy. Mrs. Kyle might have a thing or two to say about that. All right, Kyle.
All right.
Where else do we start except for the quarterback?
Of course. It always starts with the quarterback, right?
Yeah.
So Devin Brown doesn't get his chance to play in the spring game here. So we got to see McCord and Tristan throw it out. But
yeah,
I would have to give the edge right now just to McCord right now. He's had the most experience with this offense here, and I'll just give the nod to the seniority person here.
We said we always start with the quarterback. Oh, yeah, you always start with the quarterback. Duncan says not at Iowa. Yeah, they start with the punter in Iowa. Fun Iowa fact. When
that
total not Nepo baby offensive coordinator of theirs was asked if they were going to change their offense any after a completely inept offense last year, he said no. My dad's the head coach. I don't have to do anything.
I would say if it was if Tressel was here, he'd also start with the punter too, because that was during the spring game.
Hey,
they actually like pick teams.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. Tressel has a Heisman winning quarterback under his belt. Does Kirk Ferentz? I rest my case. But yeah, it's Kyle McCord. I've been on I've always been Kyle McCord. Not yet. I'm Kyle McCord until I see otherwise. Some of the stuff I was hearing out of camp, I was already leaning towards Kyle McCord even before Devin Brown got hurt. Devin Brown did participate in most of the spring. I know we didn't see him in the spring game, which feels to us, the fans, like he just wasn't at spring because he wasn't in the spring game, but he was. But I'm sticking with Kyle McCord. I've always been Kyle McCord until I see otherwise, and I've not seen otherwise. So sticking Kyle McCord. Devin Brown is still going to be your backup. I know there are people out there who might be concerned that and of course, Kyle McCord has not been named the starter. Let's say that. Ryan Day has not yet named a starter. But I don't think he's leaving. Austin says he isn't leaving. He starts next year. I mean, I think we talked last week about my feelings about me not necessarily thinking Kyle McCord's going to be one and done. I talked about that last week though. But yeah, and then Tristan is probably your third string. I don't see Kleinholtz coming in, who's did not join the team during the spring. I don't believe. No, he didn't. I know that. So I really don't see him coming in and becoming the third string quarterback. You're going to give that to a 6th year quarterback in not at Ohio State, but in college football. So you go with him. All right, Kyle, running backs.
All right, here's the interesting thing here. Lot of injuries last year here, so we got to see a lot of players running the ball. But I still think it's Henderson. I know you can make an argument that Mine Williams should be the starter. Okay, but I'm still going to stick with Henderson just because of what I've seen from him and what I think he can do here in his third year at Ohio State. I just think it's Henderson, and then Williams will get a good amount of carries, but I think Henderson will get the majority of the carries though.
As do I. If we were doing oars, which I'm not doing, I don't know if I haven't looked at Kyle's depth chart.
Well,
I'm not doing.
I'm
not doing any oars. No oars.
The only or I have is the third running back, and that's either Hayden or Chip.
Fair. I'm personally not doing any oars. I'm not taking the easy way out on that. Only oars we have are for the Buckeye rowing team, and don't forget about the Buckeye Huddle morning show, which I may or may not have named. Anyway, the national champs and Olympic medalist right there. Yep, that is true. So yeah, I'm going Travion Henderson, Mayan Williams, Evan Pryor. 1, 2, 3. That's my 1, 2, 3. Hey Jared, where's Dallin Hayden?
And Chip.
Well, I only went 3. Sorry. I say this as all respect, not disrespect, but total respect to Dallin Hayden. I think Dallin Hayden is good enough to go someplace and start, and might and could. If that's the path he chooses, I think he could very easily hop in the portal and go start somewhere. And I'm not saying he will. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying he's good enough to. So I think there's a decent chance that something like that could happen.
Yep, fair enough. Fair enough.
I'm getting a doubt. I'm getting a Hayden will stay. Listen, I'm not saying it's absolutely going to happen. I am saying, and I have said several times, I talked about it, I believe, extensively last week again, the third running back at Ohio State last year was an outlier and very weird. The third running back at Ohio State does not get many carries. Sorry. Let's move on to the wide receivers.
No surprise here, Jared.
Evan will. I think Evan's going to get different. I think they're going to use Evan Pryor in a different way. I think,
yes.
Some catches, some blocking. I don't necessarily think there's going to be a ton of carries there, but I do think they get him on the field. Wide receivers.
Yep, wide receivers. No surprise here, Jared. 3 wide receivers here. You want to do the X, the Y, and the slot, or the Y receivers here.
The X, the Z, and the Y. Or the X, the Z, and the slot.
Yes, that's what I said.
I think you said Y twice, but we can move forward.
All right, sure. All right, we'll start with X with Marvin Harrison. No surprise there, but the question is going to be who will be behind Marvin Harrison here. You got names like Tate, Antwi. Maybe you have Xavier in there, maybe, but I'm gonna stick with probably Carnell Tate as the backup there for Harrison. But I think Koja could get some snaps in there too during some games where the Buckeyes are up by a lot.
I see you guys talking about Fleming. I personally, the team does, Kyle and I do as well, currently have Fleming as a Z and Tate as an X. So adjust your depth chart accordingly if you choose to follow that. If you don't, then that's on you. But at the X wide receiver, X and Z are made up. They're really not. I think you can draw a lot of. So Ennis will be the third Y. Maybe it fits your narrative. Well, then okay, that's fair. Yeah, I have at the X wide receiver Marvin Harrison 1, Kojo Antwi 2, Carnell Tate 3. Although I acknowledge that it might be that way in September, but it might not be that way in November.
Yep.
But we're talking, week 1 here.
Yeah. All right,
Ballard
and the
over
Z.
Ticks. That's once again we're talking about the X wide receiver, and we currently have Ballard as a Z, which we are about to talk about next.
Yep. For the Z, I have Fleming as your starter, Ballard backing up Fleming, and then Noah Rogers, who made himself quite a name during the spring here. But I got Noah as the third, as the third spot there in the Z spot.
I have Kion Grays is the third Z, but otherwise we agree. I do have Fleming 1, Ballard 2, but I think they're going to see a very similar number of snaps. I think there's a real set starter, Marvin Harrison at X. I think there's a real set starter in the Y spot, which we'll get to in a second. But I think you see a decent rotation between Fleming and Ballard at the Z. I hope Fleming shuts you all up and is awesome this season. I think so. I mean, Fleming was the number 1, not wide receiver, not you, us. You're the one saying it. Let's not get into a Smokey the Bear, only who can stop forest fires type argument here. And if you get that reference, I appreciate you. But yeah, I think it's Fleming. I think it's Ballard. And I think it's probably like 60-40 on snaps. No, it's a specific Simpsons reference, not just Smokey the Bear. There is a deeper second level to that reference. I mean, that's Homer, but that's not the specific reference. All right, Kyle. By the way, I think Noah Rogers there's too many damn wide receivers, y'all.
There are.
Yes. Kyle, how are you and I going to sit here and have an argument between Grays and Noah Rogers?
You're not. We're just going to move on to the Y.
That's what I'm saying, though. There's too many damn good wide receivers. Who transfers? People. I cannot.
Do not want to.
I mean, we don't speculate on that. I mean, I literally speculated on that in regards to Hayden, but I think the reason why I speculated on that in regards to Hayden is because it's a compliment to him. But any of the wide receivers, if I say that about, it doesn't feel complimentary. So I'm not going to do that. It's that to me is the line into when I'm going to talk about a transfer and when I'm not, is when it's the speculation is a compliment, which I feel like with Hayden it is. It's better to speculate in regards to you are too good, not you aren't good enough. Yes, exactly, Austin.
All right, let's move on to the Y.
Yeah, our slot wide receiver, our JSN role. Emeka Egbuka has this on lock.
Yep, 100%.
Yeah, this is, I said Marvin Harrison's lock at X, Emeka Egbuka's lock at Y. I do think Fleming is a lock as a starter at Z, but like I said, Ballard's going to get a lot of snaps as well. Xavier Johnson, I think, will get his fair share of snaps at the slot. You could potentially see Carnell Tate get some snaps here. You could potentially see Brandon Ennis, who's not yet on campus, get some snaps here as well. But man, the wide receiver room is just dirty deep. It's insane. Yeah, I found myself underrating Emeka. Yeah, Emeka is so underrated because he plays with Marv. Yeah, honestly. It was kind of like, it was a lot like JSN. One of the reasons why his season was so amazing, I'm not taking anything away from JSN, but it's like there was Olave and Wilson, and then it's like, look, who's this guy? And it was just, not fair. Who was ranked higher than Tate? Ennis was. Ennis was the top wide receiver in the class. That's your point. I know. I'm very aware. I'll also point out that Marvin Harrison was not the top-rated wide receiver among the wide receivers committed to Ohio State. You didn't read both messages. Oh, my bad. My bad. Um,
Yeah, so I got a Mecca as well, and the question is going to be who's going to be his backup, and I'll go with the Swiss Army knife himself, X. I'll go
yeah.
with X.
Which means recruiting measurements are a joke. No. Um, it just means recruiting measurements are incredibly difficult. That's it. Um, half of the players on average between 40 and 50% of the players, no, not a joke, just very, very difficult. I'm about to give you a decent number as to why. 40 to 50% of the players who are ranked a 5-star. No, that's not what's the stat? I believe historically 50% of the first rounders are either 4 or 5-star players, which, projecting someone all the way from high school to the NFL, if you're getting a 50% on that, that's an insanely good ratio. Considering there's only 35 stars, I think like 200 4-stars, and then hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of 3-star players. The fact that only half of them are 3 stars tells you that the recruiting services are doing a really good job, because, again, projecting that far out, the fact that they hit that high of a ratio is damn impressive. Or do 5 and 4 stars just get more exposure? Um, go to more camps. Yeah, players get. This is why I always say Ohio players are underranked early in the recruiting process, because of Ohio High School Athletic Association stuff. They aren't allowed to camp as much, so they end up moving up later in the rankings later. But anyway, this is we're off topic. We're off topic. Kyle, tight ends.
Tight ends. You got to start with Stover here. Stover is your main tight end here, but we're definitely going to see multiple tight end, different formations here. So the question is going to be who's going to get that second spot, and I think Scott is going to be your number 2 tight end there, and then third there, I put in Royer. I put in Royer as the third spot, and then the incoming freshman, Thurman.
Yeah, it's yeah. I mean, I can't disagree with you. I kind of can't help but think I didn't do any ors, but if I was gonna do one or, if you give me one or for the entire depth chart, it might be or G Scott or G Scott and Royer for the second tight end, because I just believe it's situational, right? Um, I just think it's situational. Between, do you put in G Scott or do you put in Joe Royer? But yeah, I do have Cade Stover as the number 1 guy. But as Kyle said, watch out for Julian Thurman.
All right,
Okay.
now the big one here, Jared. The offensive line.
Yeah, I'm saying it wrong.
Yeah, the slobs.
Jalea.
The slobs.
I'm saying it wrong. I know I am.
All right, let's move on to the slobs here, Jared. Do we have to talk about the slobs? I would rather not.
It's literally the most important. It's the hey, Ohio State. Hey, Jared, Ohio State. What's the chances? I think the defense is going to be a lot better. I don't think we're going to take that big of a step back on quarterback. What do you think? And it's just like, man, it's all up to the offensive line. I'm going to cheat on my prediction here. It's bad. It's not good right now. Jared talking to
Well,
the offensive line coach. No, it literally is.
all right,
Um,
Jared.
I'm gonna
So,
cheat in the depth chart
all
prediction.
right. I'm
Uh,
kind of cheating too, but go on.
I am putting an offensive tackle to be named later as the starting left tackle. I this is a
Oh.
this is an
Oh.
I am putting a portal player, a yet to be named portal player at left tackle. Transfer left tackle. Yeah, Austin, exactly. That is who I'm putting at left tackle. A yet unnamed player from the transfer portal. Gangland
Until that
says, so Fryer back at right? Yes, exactly.
until that happens, I have Fryer at left.
I
But
think
if there is somebody that Ohio State would get and can start in the left tackle, then yes, I would put Fryer to the right. But as it stands right now, until that actually happens, I have Fryer as the left tackle, and then Michalowski, um Michalowski, excuse me, as your starting right tackle, and then flip flop them as your backup there.
Austin says I think they end up with the San Diego State guy. Is it Simmons?
Yeah, Tegra. Yeah, that's actually a good point there.
Oh, I'll
Tegra.
get there. I'll get there.
I think Tegra would be a good spot there as a backup for the tackles. I like that. Yeah.
My reports out of Camper that Tegra's a monster run blocker, and I'll leave it at that. Um, um, the San Diego State guy, I think if he wants to come, you take him, but I don't know if he's the answer to your prayers at left tackle. I might be more of a depth guy. If you're looking for someone who can, if you're looking for someone who can absolutely come in and become the national champion level left tackle, I don't think that's your guy. But depth is still needed, so they still might end up taking him. So left tackle, transfer guy to be named later is the starter, and I have Zen Mikowski as your backup left tackle. And at right tackle, I have Josh Fryer being backed up by Tiger Chabola. No shot. Montgomery sees time, right? Not this year. He's under it. It's incredibly difficult to play tackle as a freshman. And he doesn't have the size yet. He needs some time in the weight room. He has, I believe Montgomery has a great future at Ohio State. I really do. But I believe he has a great future, not a great present. Get him on the HGH. This isn't Clemson. Oops, did I say that out loud? Guards. Kyle, let's talk guards.
I think the guards are pretty set. I think the guards are set. The left guard is Donovan Jackson. Your right guard is Matt Jones.
And
Backing up the left guard would be Chrisman, and then Vamahi would be backing up Matt Jones.
I kind of think Vamahi might be maybe both of the backup, but yeah, I also don't disagree. But here's the wrench, Kyle. Here's the wrench in the plan with the guards. What if you don't get that left tackle out of the portal? What if you don't find that guy?
Well, if you don't find that guy, I still think the guards would. No, yeah, that's that.
They won't move Donovan. They won't move him. Donovan is staying at guard. Austin seems very insistent. I know that's what they want, Austin. But I also know what the offensive tackles look like during the spring this year. I'm just not closing the door on it. And I'm just trying to add a little bit of drama to it because, as Kyle pointed out, the guards are kind of set. Tony and Tom even said, I love Tony and Tom. They aren't wizards. And I have my opinion too. They don't want to move Donovan Jackson out. That is not what anyone wants. Yes, they are.
I think if they don't get a transfer, Jared, you put Fryer out on left tackle, and then Mikowski would be right tackle then.
I mean, so we're just back at where we were at camp then.
Yes.
I mean, maybe. I don't think it's out of the question. Tom needs an emoji. Put it in creative request. I'll make it happen. I don't think it's totally out of the question. No one wants it. That's not anyone's plan, but desperate times, desperate measures, and it might come to that. Because, okay, guys, imagine this. What if Fryer gets hurt?
I don't even want to think about that, Jared.
Are we still saying there's absolutely zero chance that they move Donovan Jackson out to left tackle? Yeah, hey, Jared, real quick, go fuck yourself. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Let's just hope that doesn't happen. Let's just hope that does not happen.
All right. Listen, I'm just trying to... By the way, Carlos Hinsman at center, Jacob James is backup.
Yes. Yeah. Carson is just...
Maybe Stud should have been gone a
really,
while ago.
really good.
Yeah. Yeah. We waited a year too late on that one. Listen, guys, let's just hope that there's a left tackle who's an immediate starter, who enters the portal, and who wants to come to Ohio State.
Does Rutgers have another left tackle that's a real stud that wants to come to Ohio State
and play guard here? What's up with the guy from USC?
Yeah, he was a guard. Yeah, you're right. Yes, my bad.
Yeah, you're confusing. It doesn't matter. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We need to move forward.
Defense, Jared.
Yes. Strong side defensive end.
No surprise.
I think this is written in stone. JTT's your starter. Caden Curry's his backup. Write it in blood. Write it in stone.
I thought Jared, he didn't like being called that.
Yeah, my apologies. You are correct. JT Tui Moluau. My apologies. My apologies. My apologies.
Yes, agreed. JT and Caden, your strong side defensive ends. Weak side is Jack Sawyer. Yeah. And put in Kenyatta Jackson as Sawyer's backup there.
I agree. Kenyatta Jackson had a wildly productive camp.
Yep.
We all knew Caden Curry was going to be he was going to be like the third defensive end, probably the strong side guy. I would say don't lose sight on Amari Abor as well. I think he could he's probably your fifth defensive end, I would venture a guess. Excited to see Curry develop this year. Me too. I want less DE rotation, though, to be honest. It's honestly, it's kind of hard to keep Caden Curry off the field, but it's also really hard to take Tui Moluau off the field. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Although Caden Curry's big and strong enough that he could play like a 3-tech in obvious passing situations.
He could. But then who are you going to remove?
As is JT for that matter.
Who are you going to remove?
Right. Because Tyleek Williams and Mike Hall aren't exactly bad pass rushers at the defensive tackle positions.
Yeah. Yep. So your four tech though, um, who do you have as the backup?
3 tech?
Sure, three tech. Sure, three tech. Whatever you want to go. I said four tech, but you go.
3 tech. Your defensive tackle is Tyleik Williams. I think that's
Yeah.
everyone. That's written in blood as well. That's. I think the better, more interesting question, Kyle, do you need more sleep? He's still got a newborn at home. The biggest question mark, if we're talking like too deep along the defensive end, is who's the backup 3 tech. I have Jaden McKenzie written down. I'm not totally sure about that. That's, again, you go down, there's 8 names here in the 2 deep for the defensive line. The biggest question mark, the biggest, I better write this very lightly in pencil situation, is probably Jaden McKenzie as Tyleik Williams backup at the 3 tech.
Okay. Yeah, that's when I was going through all the names there. That's the name that I kind of put in there behind Tyleik was Jaden there. And then behind Mike Hall, I have Hamilton.
Yeah,
under the nose tech.
Yeah, every other spot I feel incredibly confident in. Mike Hall's your starting nose. Ty Hamilton's his backup. Tyleik Williams your starting 3 tech. We already talked about the defensive ends. I'm just solid on all of those except for the second string 3 tech. I'm just not sure there.
Okay. All right. Now comes to the confusing part here. The back line, the players behind the defensive line here.
You almost called him the back line.
I did.
You?
I almost did.
Kyle,
is it that hard?
Man, you need sleep.
Is it that hard? Well, depending on the formation, it can be. Yes.
Kyle's not saying who's gonna play. Yeah, Steel Tommy, exactly. It comes down. The difficult thing comes down to: are there 3 linebackers, or are there 2 linebackers and a jack? Or are there? Do you see what I mean? It's not necessarily like if we're talking like 2 linebackers, then yeah, it's Steel Chambers, Tommy Eichenberg. No one's saying otherwise. Is there a jack position? Is there a Sam linebacker position? Is there a? This is where it gets sketchy. The jack will have 2 guys, Melton Hicks. That is in a Sam. It is Simon. It isn't hard. See, it's not. It's more of an issue of definition, and like how do you put together a starting 11 with all these hybrid roles? I think. Again, it just gets a little difficult is all as far as defining the positions and whatnot.
So so let's start with that then. So the middle linebacker, no surprise here, it's going to be Tommy Pickles here.
Yeah, what we do know is that there's a middle linebacker, and what we do know is that Tommy Eichenberg is him. Now, who is his backup? A lot of people are going to be like Simon. It's Simon. Jared, why are you even asking? It's Cody Simon.
Yes, that's what I have. I have Cody Simon as the backup.
In the same way that I talked about Dallin Hayden, I'm going to talk about Cody Simon. Cody Simon, I think, is too damn good to spend his last year at Ohio State as a backup linebacker. I think he's too damn good for it. He has another year, doesn't he? Yeah, I believe he has the 2020 year, so he could,
Yep.
in theory, come back. He does, in theory, have an extra year of eligibility. But again, like, yeah, and Hicks will start at linebacker next year. We know this. But I think Hicks is behind Chambers, right? That he's your weak side linebacker. Um, so I think next year it's very possible that your starting linebackers are C.J. Hicks and Gabe Powers. I just Simon will start if he stays. If he stays. I'm not sure he does. I think he's too damn good to be a backup another year.
So who do you have as the backup then, Jared?
Gabe Powers.
Gabe Powers. Okay.
I just
All right. And the weak side here, I have Steel Chambers, so it's going to be Steel and Tommy as your two linebackers there. Then to back up Steel Chambers, I have C.J. Hicks there, but that doesn't mean C.J. Hicks is the backup because I have C.J. Hicks as the starter for the Jack position there. Whenever they want to put in a third linebacker.
I'm just yeah, to me, I'm just going to call it a where something's missing in my notes. Yeah, but I think to me, I'll just call it a strong side defensive end, or excuse me, I'll call it the strong side linebacker. Maybe it's a Jack, maybe it's a strong side linebacker, whatever. Whatever you want to call it. I think it's Hicks and I think it's Melton if Melton stays. I don't know, whatever you want to call it. Whenever they need like a third body on the field, I think it'll be Hicks and I think it'll be and or Melton. Plus, I think we see a lot less Jack this year. Austin says, I agree. If Jack means taking a defensive lineman off the field when you have this amazing selection of defensive linemen, then don't do it.
Yeah.
Now, if putting a Jack on the field means taking a safety off the field, which could translate into taking Ransom or Styles off the field, don't do it. The Jack sounded like a fun idea, and I think that there will be packages in the future of Ohio State for it. To me, put your 4 linemen out there and let them eat.
Yep. All right.
Jack should be a package, not a position. Yeah, I don't know. It works if you're Oklahoma State in the Big 12. See, the Big 12 in general is a lot more spread out than the Big 10. That's not always true. There are certainly exceptions in both directions. Put your four linemen down. Let them eat. That's how I feel about it.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's get to the defensive backs here. Your number one corner, Denzel Burke, no question there. The question is who's your number 2 cornerback? Who's going to be the other corner on the other side of the field?
Iggy. I'm getting a lot of Iggies in the chat.
Ooh, yeah.
Make it easier for Jared. Igbinosa.
Mm-hmm.
Got it. No? Are you telling me no? Igbinosin?
Igbinosin.
Okay. Okay, sure. I am not going to try and pretend I'm right when it comes to pronouncing a thing, but I thought I was right, but whatever. I can't pronounce names. It's fine. I do think, like, Denzel Burke, I think is your solid cornerback 1. absolutely solid cornerback one. And as Kyle says, Igbinosun, and I saw some of you guys say Hancock as well. I think Igbinosun is personally, that's where I'm going for my starter. But I think there'll be a lot of rotation. I think they'll both see a lot of time. I think there'll be a lot of rotation. There'll be a lot of hot hand. So
Yeah,
they'll both see a lot of playing time. I'm going to give the nod to Igbinosun.
I'm almost there. I know I'm probably going to get a lot of crap in the chat here, but I'm going to go with Hancock right now. But yeah, I really like Igbinosun right now. I really like him, and kind of like what you said before. First game against Indiana, yeah, probably the nod to Hancock. Game against Michigan State in October sometime. Okay, maybe Davison will get the nod there.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think who starts isn't super relevant. I think that there'll just be a decent rotation between them.
Yeah, and then your fourth corner is going to be Jair Brown.
Yeah, I think Jair Brown's probably your backup to Denzel Burke.
I think that's just your fourth. That's going to be your fourth corner. Whenever the fourth one's going to come in, that's Jair. Whether it's behind Burke or behind the second cornerback, he's just your fourth one to come in.
Austin says all the guys you're talking about will get playing time. It's just a matter of how much. Yeah. Burke, number one. Igbinosun and Hancock are going to get roughly equal. And Jair Brown's probably your third guy. Again, assuming health.
Fourth.
Yada, yada, yada. Did I say third?
You said third, yeah. All
Fourth.
Right. So I actually put in here the nickelback as well, Jared.
Nickelback, cover safety.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to call it. Whatever. It doesn't, again, it's sort of like, do we call it a Sam linebacker? Do we call it a Jack? Whatever. I don't care. Nickelback, cover safety, whatever. I think it's Cam Martinez. I think that's pretty locked in my opinion.
Yeah, I think so too. Martinez, I really like what I'm seeing from Martinez, so I'm going to give the nod to him, and then Carter will be the backup there.
Yeah, Jahad Carter, he's the transfer. I'm still not 100%. Yeah, Jahad Carter is an enigma to me. Austin says I kind of agree. I'm not 100% sure myself. So I'm not super confident in putting him as like the second guy in the cover safety role. But that is just where I'm going to put him for now. That could be totally wrong. I think we would have seen in the spring game if he didn't get dinged up. Yeah, he had. I don't know if they ever said officially what it was, but it's something like a sprained knee. It wasn't serious, but it also was enough to keep him out of the spring game. I think there was a pretty low threshold. High threshold? I'm not sure which direction to say that. But like it didn't take a lot to keep someone out of the spring game. Do we have, which is like really good, but do we have 80 overalls? Are you talking like, Jahad Carter's an enigma to me because I don't know how good he is. He feels like a 75 overall player. So are we just talking like Madden numbers? Is that what we're doing? It made sense in your head. No, I got you. But I feel you. Like a 75 overall safety is really good. I feel what you're saying. But Sonny Styles exists. I don't think they're the same mold of player. I don't think they're directly competing for playing time, as we will talk about here in a second. But you aren't. But they aren't. But you can only put 11 out at a time. Yeah, but I don't think you necessarily sub one for the other.
Yeah.
I don't think they're directly competing for playing time.
All right. And the other two safeties here, Jared, we have Josh Proctor, your starter for the free safety, and Ransom as your strong safety. But got to watch out for number 6, trying to steal some playing time from Ransom.
Yeah,
I think you will start seeing more and more styles.
At the strong safety, the up safety, the whatever you call it. They call it the bandit or something. Or was that the cover guy? I don't remember. Oklahoma State names. Weird. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But he's the up safety. But he's also kind of the Sam linebacker, but in the other direction. See, this is where things get fuzzy, right?
Yep.
Strong, up, and free. Strong, free. No, the box and the strong would be the same. So, I mean, to me, it's strong safety, free safety. So you have your strong safety, who's sort of a linebacker. You have your free safety, who's like your one deep guy. And then your nickel safety / nickel. Your cover safety / nickel back, who's also kind of a corner.
Kind of like a third cornerback in a way.
Are you sure? I mean, that's how. Those are the roles they play. I know Knowles has given them some funny names with the Jacks and the Bandits and all that. And I'm not 100% sure how all of that works all of the time. Basically, what it is, if we're going to try and make it super simple, you have a new SloopCast rule. Okay. You take your strong side linebacker off of the field. And now you take him out, and then you just kind of have a new amorphous position out there. Sometimes that new amorphous position is a third linebacker who's also kind of a defensive end. Or you have that third linebacker who's also kind of a strong safety. Or you sometimes have that third linebacker or that third safety who's also sort of a corner. And the idea being is that it makes it harder to package against. It gives you a little bit more variety with what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Rule 16, we don't know our defensive position names. We from day one, when Knowles came in and started throwing all of these new positions around, we said from day one, well, the Jack is just a defensive end Sam linebacker hybrid. And the third bandit. Safety, the covers, that is the bandit. The bandit's just a safety. He's a corner safety. It's a cover safety. You know what I mean? It's just whatever.
Mm-hmm.
We come up with these goofy names, but they're just hybrid between two other positions. And for the record, not the first ones to do that.
Yep.
Ohio State's had cover safeties in the past, and they've had linebackers / safeties in the past. It's not new. Hell, if you go back to the 90s, basically all strong safeties were linebackers, except back in those days, back in my day, be an old man for a second, back in my day, the strong safety was your fourth linebacker instead of your third linebacker. You know, you get your 8 guys in the box. It's 4 down defensive linemen, 3 linebackers, and here comes the safety as the fourth linebacker. Well, now that strong safety is just playing a third linebacker because the game has gotten smaller, more spread out, and faster as opposed to bigger. Boomer alert. Boomer alert.
All right, just to finish up the safety talk here. Ransom, you're strong. Proctor, your free safety. Styles, your backup to Ransom. And Kai Stokes, you're back up to Proctor.
By the way, anyone playing along at home, we had Sonny Styles as both a potential strong side linebacker. I did anyway. he's a potential strong side linebacker and a potential strong safety, which kind of makes him the perfect strong safety if he's playing both. It doesn't matter.
What does matter, Jared,
Styles is going to get on the field. It kind of doesn't matter what position we assign to whatever the hell he's doing.
Yeah. What does matter, Jared, is who is going to replace Noah Ruggles.
Probably Parker Lewis, unless there's another kicker from the triangle area that Ohio State wants to steal, as we have a tendency to do. What sucks so much is that the name now makes you sad, and he doesn't deserve that. No, he doesn't. It was a difficult kick. Who cares? Just score touchdowns, but they're still kickoffs. You still have to worry about kickoffs.
Yes. Yeah. And how many Buckeye fans just complain anytime that ball goes out of bounds?
That's the coach's fault. That's the coach's fault. If your kicker can't do that on a consistent basis, then don't ask him to.
All right. Punter, Mirko, moving on.
Yeah. God, if there is there any more sure? Honestly, how is there any player currently on the roster that you're more sure that's going to play, is going to start all 13 games?
Oh, I'm sure there's quite a few that we named here, Jared.
Yeah, but the punter is probably one of the least likely to get hurt.
Yeah, there you go.
The long snapper. What I said.
The long snapper.
I said name a player. So you can't just say long snapper.
All right. The kick returner here.
Can we have a moment to appreciate the current run on Ohio State punters? Yeah, no, it's Ohio State's been solid at the punter position for
a while.
At least 12 years? Austin said 10 to 15. Yeah, I mean, without actually looking it up, Ohio State's been since Cam. Yeah, I mean, at least since Cam. Yeah, Johnston.
All right, the returners here, Jared. I still want my return here. We still waiting for that good return touchdown here. That we're just so eager to have here. Who's going to be your returners here, Jared?
Kick return, I have Xavier Johnson, Jaden Ballard, who are essentially
same here.
Those are like your fourth and fifth receivers. With all due respect to Carnell Tate, who you could also see back there.
Yeah, I have X and Ballard as the kickoff return as well, and then for the punt return, I got Ibuka returning it, but for Ibuka's backup, I have Ballard back there as well.
I have Ibuka as well, but I have Carnell Tate as the backup. I don't know though.
You know, having a true freshman trying to return punts.
Who is going to be the play caller? Some amalgamation of Ryan Day and Hartline. Sorry, Kyle.
Oh, you're good.
Austin was yelling. It's his fault.
Tony says here, Tony Gerdeman's his starter for the kick return is this position no longer exists in college football.
Not wrong.
No, he's not wrong. It is mostly true. Yes.
Except when Ohio State coaches decide to get fancy with it and try and drop the kickoff return. Oh man, if you aren't old enough, that's the greatest kick returner ever lived right there in the I'm blanking on
All
his
right,
name though for the audio listeners. Can someone-
Hester.
Devin
Devin
Hester.
Hester.
Devin Hester. Yeah.
You know who
Cordell
else is
Patterson
up
up
there?
there. I mean, there's been so many.
I mean, Deion Sanders was a great one too, especially on the
Sure
punt
was.
return. On the punt return, especially.
Yeah, there's been some great ones. I think Devin Hester was the best, though.
Yes. Yes. All right, Jared, that is our depth chart as of April 23rd.
24th, Kyle. 24th. That's when we released
23rd
this.
of recording, 24th we release it. Yes, of course.
Yes, of course. Yeah, that's it. I think that's it. That's the end of the show. I'll do a quick plug. If you want to buy, actually no, Patreon. Let's talk Patreon. Everyone, our Patreon I think is currently at 19 contributors. If you've been thinking about it, can we get up? Let's get up to 20. Let's get up to 25. If you've been thinking about it, let's get it up to 25. That's it. It's only $3 a month. If you don't want a monthly payment, it's something like $32.50 for the year. So just like one payment, good for the year, $32.50. Honestly, if I can sell you on the benefits you get, you can join all these hooligans down here in the Discord chat and listen to us live. You can get the episodes ad free into your podcast feed. You can get early access. There are benefits. I am just humbly asking that if you listen to the show, forget the benefits for a second. I am simply humbly asking that if you listen to the show and you've listened for the show to a long time, and maybe just do it for 1 year. Don't even feel like you have to re-up it in 12 months. If we have during, God, and I've been doing this since 2015. If we have provided you with $32.50 worth of entertainment since you've started listening, maybe just help us out. That's all I'm saying. And again, there are benefits. There's actual benefits to you signing up, but that's not even what I'm trying to do right now. I'm just like, if you feel like if we've provided hours and hours of entertainment, maybe just throw us $3 a month and do it for like 12 months and then cancel after that if you want to. All right. Buy Jared's house for $2. No, my house is much more expensive than that. I know, I pay taxes. Columbus taxes. Jared is trying to move to Ann Arbor.
Jared,
what the hell?
That's just everywhere, Jared, not just Columbus.
Franklin County. You know what, Kyle? Let's not get me started on property taxes in Franklin County, Ohio, which were deemed non-constitutional, I don't know, 20 years ago, yet we keep doing it. But we're not talking about that right now. What we are talking about is whatever's in Kyle's corner. Kyle, what's in Kyle's corner?
Sure. We're not going to go too deep in this. I think this is
a shallow corner this week.
Yeah, this is an off-season discussion here, but the NCAA decides they want to change rules oversighting.
No. You can't get me started on this.
The running clock.
I'm pushing my microphone away because I simply can't. Kyle, we're going to talk about this on another episode because we have talked about this on another episode. I can't even get started on this. I'm pushing the microphone away.
Yeah, and a lot of disappointment, a lot of hate towards this. But yeah, like what Jared said, we'll talk about this in another episode. So, because there's some good idea, there's some better ideas that other sports currently do that can make the game better.
It might not be next week,
but it will be sometime during the wasteland.
I tell you what, Kyle, let's make this promise. Kyle and I are going to put together a proposal to fix the way college football is broadcast.
So we had fixing college football. Now we're going to have fixing
the broadcasting of college football.
College football broadcasting.
Thank you. That's a better way of saying that. We're going to do that sometime in May. I'm just letting you know right now it's coming. We're going to work on it. I think
next week we're going to talk about the NFL draft. So
will we? Honestly, what is there really to talk about other than to just say, CJ Stroud was drafted by, I think we're presuming the Texans right now, but whatever. I don't know. How much insight do we have on that? I don't know. I think next week, Kyle, we do a new mock class. I think a lot has happened recruiting wise. Fuck the draft. I love the draft. I'm going to watch the draft, but I just don't know what unique things you and I have to say about it. I think next week we just say, forget the draft and we do a new mock class. A new mock recruiting class. Jared, I have to give you a caveat of you still have to keep the NCAA pockets deep, of course. Well, by the way, it's not the NCAA. It's the conferences. Because that has to be part of it or it'll just never happen. Whomstever, yes. It's the schools and the conferences and the broadcasting partners. The broadcasting partners have to make their money. And actually, it's really just the broadcasting partners that have to make their money because the conferences already made their money in the rights deal. So really, it's just about the broadcasters making money is really what's happening.
Yep. All right, that's it, Jared. That is all we have for today's episode.
Yes. Tonight's ending music will be... I like that we're just talking about upcoming shows, by the way. In the month of May... Will it be May? No, it'll still be April, right? No, it will be May. Next episode is, in fact, in May. During the month of May, we will be fixing broadcasting in college football. We'll have a new post-spring camp mock class. We might do an entire episode of why Brady Quinn sucks. But probably not, but maybe. But I tell you what, month of May, we already have 2 episodes planned, and that sounds like a lot of fun. So, but those are for upcoming weeks. So look forward to those. You know where to find us. And tonight's ending episode was brought to you by a band out of Cincinnati. They're called Saving Escape. So with all that being said, I'd like to encourage everyone to listen to local music, drink local beer, and of course, support your local podcasters. Once again, this is Saving Escape.